in the wake of Barbie's success, I think it's kind of interesting to try to examine what actually happened with this movie. Because every time a movie at the box office bombs, like Indiana Jones and a Dial of Destiny or The Flash are two recent examples that I can think of, we got the studios kind of making excuses saying like, oh, well, because of the lockdowns and stuff like that, the theaters aren't back in full swing. And I think that's a pretty bad excuse considering we got other billion-dollar movies out there like Avatar, or from this year, Super Mario Brothers. We had Top Gun Maverick famously kind of relaunched the theaters and stuff like that. So why are those movies succeeding and a lot of these other big ones are failing when they used to not fail at all? And I think a lot of that just has to do with people aren't interested in going to theaters like they used to. We got this article right here talking about like this survey that came out. Nearly 1 in 4 of Barbie viewers hadn't gone to the movie since COVID. And you do have to take this poll with a grain of salt because it was around 1,800 people that they surveyed. And in that survey, 11% haven't gone since before COVID. And another 11% can't remember the last time they went to the theater. So that could have been even longer, which means they're just people who don't go to movies too often. Or it could have been more recent, where like maybe they did see like Super Mario Brothers and they just forgot about it or whatever. But either way, even if you just take it as 11% hadn't gone since the pandemic shut things down, that's still a pretty significant amount. Now, would that account for the whole success of Barbie? No, of course not, because I mean, you could take away 11% of its box office and it still did pretty good. But the point of the matter is just the fact that there are a lot of people who don't go to theaters like they used to. And I think the part is, why is this one a successful movie, or why are these other ones successful? And I think there's something to be said about the fact that this just became a cultural movie to see. Because I mean, we even had like the seeds being sowed for that when this back in July of 22, so about a year before it even was released. It was kind of so in the seeds of like, this is going to be a cultural movie to see, and people will want to actually see this movie in the theater or whatever and make an event out of it. And then as things started leading up to it and the publicity started ramping up, we started seeing Oppenheimer kind of rolled into it. And yeah, that became the thing. It was a cultural event to actually go to this movie. And YMS actually did an interesting video or interesting explanation of it in his review of both these movies.
Honestly, pretty exciting to feel like I was at an actual movie event. Like, it wasn't a convention or anything. I was at a movie theater, but people excitedly got out of their houses to attend a thing that they wanted to see. There was a great energy in the air. And aside from conventions or film festivals, this isn't really something I've seen since pre-COVID. The movies are back, baby! All right, I guess I'll talk.
So yeah, I mean, I think that's a lot of the hype around this is just the fact that it became a cultural movie and people wanted to see it in the theater. Now, if you haven't seen YMS's review of both these movies, I highly recommend you checking it out. He does pretty good reviews. But anyway, I mean, yeah, going back to this whole thing about it, it's, yeah, you have to have something significant, because a lot of the times with movies, they would just kind of put something out there and just expect people to go to it because that was just the habit. People would go to theaters. And like any habit, once you break it, it's kind of hard to get people back onto it. And like, yeah, studios kind of broke the habit of people going to theaters. So now you have to actually get them back into it in some way. And yeah, we got Bob Iger, who understands that like things aren't back yet. And like they kind of insinuate it as like, and even outright say it, sometimes it's like people are afraid to go out to theaters anymore. And that's not the case. The only thing is the theater landscape is different than how it used to be. So you have to offer something other than just the movie, because we've seen the replacements out there. I mean, you got people on YouTube, you got streaming services like Netflix and Hulu and Disney Plus or whatever. I mean, even have video games and other things like that. So people have entertainment at home. So what's going to draw them into the theater? It's either going to be an experience that they can't, it is just that. It's an experience, and that means it's either a theatrical experience, like with what Christopher Nolan was doing with Oppenheimer. You need to see this in IMAX 70 millimeter. That's the best way to watch this type of movie. And then there's other things. It's just a cultural experience, but something has to be done to the audience that makes them actually want to go out and see the movie. And I think I think studios need to understand that, because if they just try to treat things how they are, where like, oh, we just need to keep making movies and eventually people will come back, they're going to be just continuing to put out all these bombs like we've been seeing this last year, because that's not what people want anymore. They want something different, or they want something better. Like I said, you can watch movies at home. Everyone has a streaming service. A lot of people have nice sound systems and nice TVs. I mean, you can pretty much get the same thing from at home if you're just looking to watch a movie. So what can they do different? And until they actually understand it, I think we're going to see a lot more failures. But when we do see the good ones out there, those are really going to shine bright. But let me know what you think about all this in the comment section below. And if you like this video, make sure you click the like button, share the video, and subscribe to the channel if you want to stay up to date with the latest news. Thank you.